Hey guys, welcome back to Loft Sports. I'm Tyler, coming at you with the Notre Dame Pittsburgh preview. Irish travel on the road for the first time this season, getting ready to take on the Pitt Panthers Saturday afternoon at Heinz Field. Historically, a tricky opponent for Notre Dame. Pittsburgh has always been one of those teams that gives Notre Dame fits, even when Notre Dame has great teams or when Notre Dame's teams are kind of average. Pitt's always been a pesky opponent. Pitt started the year 3-0, looked really good. They've kind of fallen apart. They lost 3 straight. They lost to Miami this past Saturday. Pitt's a dangerous team. They're not a pushover. They're a better team than, quite frankly, Louisville or Florida State. So I'm a little bit concerned about this game because the last 2 games, Notre Dame has not looked very good. Yeah, we put it on Florida State a little bit, but we didn't play a clean game. And then we came back on Saturday against Louisville, who is probably slightly better than Florida State, but not much, and we scored 12 points. The offense didn't look good. The defense played pretty well, but had some missed opportunities, kind of let Louisville hang around for a while. I was pretty discouraged in my effort after watching Notre Dame's effort on Saturday against Louisville. I'm looking forward to see this. We're going to find out a lot about this Notre Dame team. If Notre Dame comes out and limps to another 23-20 win against Pittsburgh, I'm going to tell you right now, Notre Dame can just forget about any aspirations of playing Clemson close. Clemson does not do this. When they play teams, they might have 1, maybe 2 games a year where they're close with somebody in the fourth quarter, but the rest of their games, these teams dominate these inferior opponents. Alabama does not have close calls with Kentucky and Tennessee and Vanderbilt. They destroy those teams, and then they might have a close encounter with a Florida or a Georgia, and then they pull away in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame doesn't even beat bad teams handily very often. I mean, we crushed South Florida, but it seems like 3 or 4 games out of the year, Notre Dame jacks around with these inferior teams that we're clearly better than. You can just watch the teams play and say, yeah, Notre Dame's a better team. Why don't they just blow this team up? I'm frustrated. I've been watching Notre Dame for a long time. I'm going to be 30 next February. And I'm sure a lot of you have even been struggling with watching Notre Dame for longer than that, all the way back to the heydays in the late 80s when we were actually dominant and took care of business on a regular basis. But it is what it is. We're 4-0. Hopefully this is a win that Notre Dame can come back out, circle the wagons, as Kirk Herbstreit always likes to say, rally the troops, and get this thing going again. We've got to build some momentum going to this Clemson game because they look pretty damn tuned up right now, and Notre Dame looks like a good team, but not a great team. And that's where we want to be. This is Brian Kelly's 10th or 11th year at Notre Dame. Ian Book's been the starter for 3/4 years. This is the team that if Notre Dame is going to get serious about competing for a championship under Brian Kelly, this has to be a year. You're in a conference, so you can theoretically lose a game and still come back and win the ACC and get into the playoff, where in most years when we're independent, we kind of have to probably figure to run the table to be in the playoff. I'm very curious to see how Notre Dame reacts. Pittsburgh's a good team. They're a tough out, but we should thrax them. 9 times out of 10, we should beat this team by 2 touchdowns minimum. I'm hoping it's more than that on Saturday. It won't be an easy game, especially if we play like we played the last 2 weeks. I expect a lot of resistance from Pitt. They always run the ball. They play good defense. They're harder to blow out than some of these other teams. I think Notre Dame's going to get it done, but I'm looking for a better performance from Book and the Irish offensively this Saturday. This is Tyler with Loft Sports signing off.